Fresh oysters, succulent brisket, plump lobster rolls, Briny Swine has you covered. On this week's Food Friday, we're joined by owners Katherine and Brandon Rushing. Thank you so much for joining us. My mouth is already watering. Sounds great.
Thank you for having us.
And that's just a portion of the menu. First of all, let's talk about when you opened your doors. It's not been that long.
No, we were actually slated to open right at the time that they shut everything down last year. So we've now been open it's been just about a year since we were supposed to be open.
So how did that go? I mean, Katherine, can you talk about all the excitement leading up to opening up? This is your second restaurant?
This is.
So opening number 2, and then the world shuts down. Then what do you do?
You know, sadly, we were kind of used to it because we were shut down almost immediately after we opened our first restaurant because of Hurricane Matthew. So not our first rodeo. We were able to kind of duck and dodge, I guess, a little bit, because when we pushed Ella and Ollie's to just doing takeout only, we kind of did like a Ella and Ollie's Briny Swine collaboration. So we were still able to, you know, kind of get our feet wet a little bit. It was almost like just, I guess, maybe tryouts for what was going to work and what wasn't going to work.
Really long, soft opening.
Yes, obscenely long, soft opening.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And depending on how you look at it, but you got
you know,
while thinking on your feet.
Yeah, it honestly kind of worked to our benefit slightly because barbecue is a very takeout friendly food.
Yes.
So you know, all things considered, it could have been a whole lot worse. So
I like
you know,
the positive outlook on that. And you, as Briny Swine, are the only smokehouse on Edisto. So was this the impetus for you to open up one?
Yeah, I think that we realized that it's been missing down here, and that was something that we wanted to get kind of up and running. And you know, since I've moved out here, one of the first things that we ever got to go do was an oyster roast and a pig picking. After I met my wife before we'd gotten married and everything, and it was an awesome experience. So we really wanted to do is kind of bring barbecue to the island, but also bring it to the island where we could kind of recreate that atmosphere of, you know, people just kind of getting together and having a good time and being able to eat some good food and eat some roasted oysters and shucked oysters and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of bring that kind of vibe down to the beach for people.
And very family friendly. So can you talk about how maybe you do things a little bit differently with your smoked foods, brisket, pulled pork, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of our stuff is so smoked. I mean, we use only prime brisket. We source our oysters from Low Country Oyster Company, which is actually right on the other side of the island over here. They bring it by boat to us a couple times a week whenever we need them. So we've been able to kind of add some different things into our menus, more than just a traditional smokehouse. So like I said, we've got, you know, lobster rolls and peel and eat shrimps and different kinds of oysters roasted and raw. And then you have the whole barbecue side of things as well, with smoked wings and brisket and pulled pork and smoked turkey and all those kinds of things that we've added to it to kind of bring everything together to kind of get the best of both worlds.
Can't go wrong. Can you talk a little bit about the sides? Because you can't have brisket without good sides. So do any of these recipes go back to your family, or how did you devise some of these recipes?
Collard greens are one of the recipes that I've got on there. It's actually come back to when I first moved out here. I worked for the old post office restaurant, and Philip Barton's who taught me how to make collards. And if I'd made it any differently, it'd be terrible, really. So I stick to simple and clean. You know, he always taught me, whatever we're going to do, you know, you never do more than 5 ingredients. And that's always been kind of what we try to go with. And so we keep it simple. On that recipe, we have a guy on the island up at Rooting Down Farms that grows our collards for us. And then they're just braised down, tons and tons of smoked meat in them. And some tomatoes as well to kind of lighten it up a little bit.
Very healthy.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
is
And then
healthy for the local economy is that everything is locally sourced, or most things are locally sourced.
Yeah, as much as we can, for sure. I mean, we try to get everything we can from the island as much as there is. I mean, we're very fortunate that down here we have marsh hen mills up there where we can get a lot of things from, and Rooting Down, as well as supplies us with a lot of our vegetables and stuff. And then like the oysters, I mean, having Loco Oyster Company right over there is absolutely phenomenal. You know, so we're very fortunate.
We share a parking lot with Edisto Seafood, and we only use our shrimp from them. The Sarah Jane's the only boat that goes out on Edisto. So I mean, we're insanely lucky that we've got such awesome quality produce around us. And it's nice, like the guy that owns Rooting Down Farms, I went to high school with him in Somerville.
Wow.
Ashley, who owns Edisto Seafood, our parents were friends when they were teenagers, so it's nice. And then our pit master is actually Ashley Fontaine's brother-in-law. So, I mean, it's just like a nice cohesive, it's a family, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. Well, anybody who's in Edisto, they need to come and eat at Briny Swine. They also need to go to Ella and Ollie's. Anytime I'm in Edisto, that's where I eat. It's fantastic. I want to thank you both so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so
thank
much.
you.
We're back after this.